All right. Who we got here today? We got Mthabisi Mhlanga. First of his name, Speak Up Consulting CEO and founder, Level Fitness, Love of Life, friend, confidant, all of the above. Welcome to Limitless Stories. I'm super excited to have you as the first guest. It was only right to get you here and launch this platform because I believe your story is one of the most inspirational ones that I've been a part of from a personal standpoint. So I'm super excited to have you here. Uh, Talk to you as a friend, but also as a guest on this platform. I'm excited for you to share your knowledge, your insights on life, and how you approach the themes of mindfulness, fitness, and relationship building, which we do have on a personal standpoint. But I just want the audience to kind of get to see a glimpse of who you are as a person, what you do, what you stand for. I believe your story is amazing, and I do believe this platform is a great step to you talking about your story in a safe space where you're comfortable, so that people can see like the inside of what goes on behind Ta,
Mm.
the persona, the aura. We need to know you from a personal standpoint. So I feel like today is a good day for you to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit more about who you are, where you're from, and then we can get started.
Love that. You want me to give a bit of intro of myself?
Yes, sir.
All right, bro. I appreciate you having me, bro. Love to see what you have done, your own journey, and privileged and honored, that you wanted to chop it up. We always chop it up, but I love that you want to chop it up on this platform that you're creating. So I have no doubt that this is going to be something amazing that you do. So appreciate you for having me. Yeah, man. Mthabisi Mhlanga, born and raised in Zimbabwe. Just someone that is going through life, trying to learn more about myself every single day, uh, learning, figuring it out, failing, figure it out, and grateful for every single opportunity that I've been blessed with to this point in time in my life. So yeah, I've had a great life, man, a great life of a lot of twists and turns, and happy to chop it up with you today about that.
All right. Y'all heard the man. We ready? We're
Mm,
about to go in. First things first, you mentioned something about failing.
mm.
And me and you met a fitness environment. And that's one of the themes of this show is to understand how fitness plays a role in our daily lives. So I know you're a huge fan of fitness, whether that's the physical fitness in the gym or just physical activities that you do, sports, whatever it may be growing up. I want to ask you this quick question. How does failure in the fitness world, how do you manage that on a day-to-day basis when you fail in the fitness world, and how can you equate that to failing in real life? So the concept of failure, we encounter it in different forms. We do encounter this when we're doing fitness. Sometimes we do have goals that we want to accomplish. You go into a tournament, you hope to be the best player in whatever sport you play, and you fail. Or you're lifting weights and you want to manage this weight class that you've worked so hard to get to. You try to do this rep and you fail. How do you get over that in terms of like the fitness journey, and how can you equate that to life as you know it today? Mthabisi, the GOAT.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I almost don't even think about it as failure. I think the way when you talk about fitness or exercise or sports and all of that, at least in my own life, the times where I feel anything even close to failure are the times where I didn't actually show up for the thing itself. So the days where I didn't actually go and work out, the days where I chose to stay in bed, the day where I chose to not push myself, where I was meant to run, I don't know, 10K and I ran 7K. The days where I didn't show up in the ways that I know that I should have shown up are the days where I would say I would equate that more so to failure. Because that to me is the idea of not being in the arena. Those are the days where I feel the most sense of, damn, you really didn't do the thing that you said you were going to do. Those are the days where I feel like I'm most hard on myself, as opposed to not being able to lift a specific weight that I tried to, because at least in that circumstance I tried. I was in the
Hmm.
arena. I think you can
Mm.
never fault someone for who is in the arena and doesn't achieve the goal while they're in the arena. The thing that is more difficult, that I struggle with more so, are the days when I said I was going to do something and I don't do it. When I said I was going to wake up and go to the gym and I didn't go to the gym. Those are the days where, I have to try to give myself some grace, obviously, and remind myself that being in the arena is the exact place that I have to be in my life, in all
Mm-hmm.
the things that I care about. And as long as I am in the arena, then there is nothing wrong with not being able to achieve the goal that I set out to on a daily basis, or there's nothing wrong with it. I wanted to run a specific time in a 5K. I didn't quite run the time that I wanted to. It's like I did it though. I did it. That's okay, because
Mm.
it's progress, it's information. You can move forward from that. The the failure for me is actually just not doing the thing, not being in the arena itself. Does that make sense?
Mm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, when you speak on that from that perspective, it gives us a little bit more insight on the importance of just showing up. Half the work, half the battle is showing up. In this fitness journey that we all try to do in various forms, you've touched base on how you run and how you lift weights. I know you're a big tennis fan. Half the battle is just showing up, like putting yourself in that position to actually do the things that you were going to do, right? And I love the fact that you said you don't look at it as failure more so when you half show up, but like when you don't show up, then that's when you feel like, ah, man, I don't know if this was the right decision. But even as a follow-up question, like sometimes we show up, we give our best, you know, it's not always a battle. Sometimes we're in the arena and we're in it. I want to touch base on performance anxiety. When you're in the arena, eyes on you, cameras on you, you're trying to figure this thing out that you're probably doing it for the first time. How
Mm.
do you handle that in the heat of the moment, on the fly?
They say they say pressure is a privilege, and I think
Mm.
I really do feel that sense when I start to feel pressure on me. And just obviously, I'm a public speaking coach. And so I do a lot of speaking and workshops on speaking. And I feel that, the same sort of energy in your chest, the adrenaline flowing, and which oftentimes people associate with nerves. And there's a lot of studies just on the idea that nervousness and excitement feel nearly the same in our bodies. So the physiological markers in our body, when we say we are nervous versus when we say we are excited about something, they're actually nearly indistinguishable. And so the heart rate going crazy, the dizziness, the sweaty palms, all of those things are very consistent with when we are excited to do something. And so the ability when you are in those moments to start to change the perception of what's actually going on physically in your body in that moment, to be like, yo, I'm actually low key excited about this. And instead of saying,
Mm.
oh, I'm super nervous, this isn't going to go well, my competition is this, and so forth and so forth, people are watching me, the ability to start to reframe in the mind and say, I'm feeling this because I'm actually so excited that I get the opportunity to be in front of people. Again, in a speaking
Mm.
context, I'm so grateful that they gave me this opportunity. I'm so excited that I get to share this stage, this moment with people, and we get to interact. We get to go on this speaking journey together. And so I do a lot of reframing on a daily basis when I am going into environments that feel like there's a lot of pressure, and
Mm.
reframing it and trying to make myself get more excited about it and change the narrative of what that experience is, because oftentimes we show up how we speak to ourselves, right? If you tell
Mm.
yourself that this is going to be this is going to be not go well, I'm so nervous, people are going to be looking at me weird. Oftentimes, that's how you show up. Right? We can manifest certain realities just by thinking about the words that we say to ourselves. So I'm so obsessed, bro. I can't even lie to you. I say I'm in my head a lot, but I'm in my head filling it with positive thoughts about how things are going to go consistently.
Mm. Pressure is privilege. That one's gonna stay with
Mm-hmm.
me.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. I
It
like
really
that.
is.
I like
It
that.
really
Pressure is
is, man.
privilege. And I think you've mentioned something really personal as well, in the sense that we're all in our heads. Like we try so hard in this life to get out of our head, right? Like I I always tell myself, you start living the moment you can connect your head to your heart, because
Mm.
the only time you can pursue what you truly want is when your heart and your head are connected. When you can leave out of your head and start leaving your purpose, which is always coming from the heart, right? So when you stop over analyzing, over, you know, talking negative about yourself, hey, we can't do this, as you said, and being in your head, that allows me to, like, you can't really focus if you're not really, like, if you're in your head too much. So I think that's a very important point, and it allows me to segue into the next question, which is on mindfulness, where I'm a huge believer of being mindful. I do believe in being able to regulate your thoughts and your thought patterns consciously. So I'm curious to know, when you're in your head, when you have 1,000 negative stories coming into your head, because we all have negative self-talk, we all have doubts, we all have this insecurities that we carry on a day-to-day basis, pretty much from childhood. I want to know, when you're going to coach your clients for Speak Up Consulting, check him out, guys. Great platform. When you're going to coach your clients and you feel like you're not in your zone, how do you regulate your thought process and your thought patterns on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah. And I think I am keenly aware of how the stories that I tell myself, well, the stories that we tell ourselves impact the way you show up in all parts of your life. And for me, just the ways in which it has negatively impacted me in moments like when I was at SFU at Simon Fraser University and when I was on academic probation, and again, at risk of being kicked out of the faculty if you're on academic probation for an extended period of time. Thankfully,
Mm-hmm.
that didn't happen. But the stories and the words that I was telling myself in those moments of I'm not smart, and I always knew I wasn't smart in high school. I never got good grades. I never got great grades. I got, like, for our official exams in O level Cambridge exams, I got 4 Bs and 5 Cs. And I was like, you're not really that guy, pal. You're not that guy when it
You're
comes
not
to,
him. You're
you're
not
not him.
him.
Not him. No, no, it's not you. It's not you. It's not you. It's not you.
Mm,
I told myself all these stories about intelligence and that I'm not smart, and clearly now I'm on academic probation. So it's just proving this idea that I already have of myself. And so I'm very aware of how all the stories that I told myself also kind of landed me in a lot of those positions. Just
mm,
not external factors, me. That I am the one that has the ability to change the way that I think about myself so that I show up differently in life when I am in front of people. And so in those moments, I'm keenly aware. And again, I think some meditation has helped in journaling and just being aware of what I'm thinking about. In those moments when I am in my head, I catch it pretty quickly when I start to say some negative stuff about uh, how I'm feeling or how people are going to perceive me in this new environment, potentially that I've never been in. I really catch
mm,
myself pretty quick, and I'm very quick to start telling myself a different story. Almost, sometimes it's delusional. It's
mm,
delusional storytelling to make yourself believe that everything is going to go well, that I am made for this moment, that this is exactly what I am meant to be doing. I am here for a reason. God has put me in this place for a reason. And thankfully, at this point in my life right now, I've received a lot of, validation of that specifically. But even when I hadn't received that validation, it was really on my own mind to tell myself over and over, this is going to go well. This is going to go well. You are who you think you are. You really
mm-hmm,
are who you think you are,
mm-hmm, mm,
and you're going to show up in these environments in that way. And so it's a lot of self-hyping. It is a lot of being okay with just being confident in yourself as well.
mm,
Growing up where we grow up, there's a very much a thing of you have to be humble. You have to be humble. You can't be braggadocious. You can't be, and sometimes I find that humility is the thing that people are sold in order to keep people small. And
mm,
because it's such a fine, and I understand it's such a fine balance between being confident and being cocky. But I would rather you potentially come across as cocky in search for your confident self than staying just humble and quiet and not showing up, big and confident in your own life. Because that to me is the act of being in the arena of you're trying. And maybe sometimes I might come across as I'm being cocky, and I'll be able to pull it back and be like, "Oh, no, 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 I'm going too far. I'm going too far there." But I think the act of trying to find that confidence in yourself is a better alternative than trying to act too humble. And then you now don't end up figuring out who you really could be in this life. Because I think confidence allows you to figure out who you could be.
I want to pause you for a second, just a second, to double down on something you mentioned, and I think you're absolutely right from that point of view, because I think you've mentioned about how when you're humble, it's like you're playing small, and you mentioned how previously, like in this segment, you said you've gotten feedback throughout this journey that has allowed you to gain that confidence, be yourself, show more of who you are. And we've talked about this a lot in our personal conversations. There's nothing that ignites your soul than positive, affirmative feedback. Something that actually tells you you're doing the right thing. So when you're in the arena, when you're showing up, toiling, flailing, figuring it out, and you start seeing this cardboard on the stand saying, "Keep going, bro. I'm rooting for you." That's when you start believing in yourself. And it ties to this idea that you just said. Sometimes when you're humble, you're not going to try. You're not going to put yourself in these positions to, like, showcase yourself, because I don't want to step on toes. I don't want to seem like I'm too cocky. But then your confidence is never going to build. You'll never know if you don't try. So I like that point of view, and I needed to, like, kind of like tie the two concepts together, because I feel the same way at certain points, especially with just like confidence. Like, confidence is a huge thing. Like, it cuts across different avenues of life. So I'm glad that you shared that. And just like a follow-up question to your mindfulness practices and routines, do you have a rough idea of when and how you got into meditation or journaling or running? Because I feel like running for you is also like a mindfulness thing coupled up with fitness as well.
Even pinpoint the meditation, and I try to do it. I don't do it as much as I would like to, but I can't even pinpoint when I stumbled on all of that stuff and started. It was definitely years ago, all the journaling and meditation and being still, just that whole concept and that idea. I don't remember what it was specifically that got me on there, but it was years ago where I was able to find out that this is stuff that helps you just to be still, be present, hear your own thoughts, so that you can actively even change your thoughts and just catching, like the ability to be able to catch yourself and catch your thoughts so that you can reframe, have the ability to reframe, have the ability to think different thoughts, things that are more productive and help you to navigate your life in a more productive way. So it's definitely years ago, but I don't know when it was and what was going on specifically. It's just kind of stayed with me as a part of my life now. And more recently, prayer has obviously been something that has been more and more present in my life. It feels like the more being more and more in the arena, I rely on God to be able to control the things that I cannot control. And it feels like I need to have an answer for someone who is handling all of the uncontrollables so that I can just focus on the things that I can control. And believing that God is taking care of that and wants me to win and wants me to succeed, it helps me to go through life. And so prayer in the morning when I wake up, that has become a big part of my life. Just kind of relinquishing all my worries and things that I cannot control to God has been really important to me and really sort of peace inducing in my life. For sure. So, and then the other piece of your question was,
It was pretty much like how the mindfulness aspect, when you stumbled upon that. So I'm glad that you brought up prayer, because I was going to I was going to ask you a follow-up question on that because I know that's super personal. At what point did you reconnect with prayer as a toolkit for yourself, where you realized I do need to get in tune with this concept of surrender? I don't have control over the uncontrollable, but I do know there's a bigger power that is God in your
Mm-hmm.
belief system that
Mm-hmm.
controls the uncontrollable. When or what triggered this reunion or reconnection with prayer as a concept in your life for mindfulness?
Mm-hmm. And I think it's just been over the last couple of years, just kind of bringing itself back in, because growing up in Zim, very much a go to church on Sunday every Sunday without fail, no matter what's going on. And moving to Canada for university, the realization that, oh, people don't go to church every Sunday. Wait, people have a choice to not go to church. First of all, there's an option. There's an
Yes,
option.
sir.
That's
Yes,
interesting.
sir.
There was the autonomy was it was almost too much for me, seeing that you have that much freedom and that much choice. And but it allowed me to kind of have my own spiritual journey of not going to church at all for years and not doing any of that for years, even praying really just an afterthought. But I think life life will life, bro. And so I think the passing of my dad, that was definitely one thing a few years ago. Some very uncontrollable moments in life and not having good ways to manage those things. I think that
Mm,
was the recognition of when difficult things have happened in my life. I find that I don't respond to them well. I don't have great ways to, or not great, healthy ways to manage stress. End up going out too much and just doing things that I don't really want to be doing, that aren't really
mm,
productive to healing and so forth. But
mm,
and so I think it was the absence of having healthy coping mechanisms to really big life events like passing of family and friends. The absence of that made me want to have better ways of managing those things and being able to just rest in someone else other than myself, and someone
mm,
else that I feel like has such good intentions for me and would never wish bad on me. And in this sense, is this someone is God in this example. And so I think really just over the last couple of years, the big life events, my dad passing away, one of my good friends, childhood friends passing away last year, those moments really fundamentally shifted. Where do I get my peace from when shit hits the fan?
mm,
I think that not when everything is good and when shit hits the fan. Where do I get my peace from? Meditation, etc, journaling. It's great when life is going great, but when shit hits the fan, it's like everyone. What's that thing? Everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face.
mm.
It's like it was the realization that I really don't have great ways of managing when big things happen in my life, big sort of moments, difficult moments happen, and I think resting in God has been the thing that has been helpful for me in thinking about those big things, even thinking about my dad, just the ability to pray in those moments and just be like, okay, give this up to God and let God handle it and so forth and just be at peace. There's a certain peace that it gives me that is very hard to explain, hard to describe. It's definitely a feeling. But yeah, it was life events that led me to just being like, yo, this life thing is wild, man. And so being able to rest in someone other than myself and not wanting to use alcohol or any other substances as
Mhm,
the route to giving yourself peace, a very short term peace, really, because
mhm,
that stuff really just remains with you. So I think that
mhm.
was really the core of it. Just recognizing that I didn't have great ways of managing, difficult moments of grief and wanting more healthy ways to manage that.
I love that. Thanks for the vulnerability, bro. I know some of these things are not easy to share, and
Mm,
some of these things bring up very personal pain points that not a lot of us are willing to openly talk about because
mm,
it could open a can of worms or like wounds that we haven't really fully healed from, and we may never fully heal from. So thank you for allowing yourself to share that on this space and on this platform, because one of the things we want to encourage is vulnerability and authenticity, being yourself, allowing yourself to feel those things that actually weigh you down. And as you said, when things are good, it's easy to engage in other coping mechanisms that are very robotic, per se. Like, when you
Hmm.
just kind of open up a book, write down some notes, it's easy. It can become routine. It can become routine to go to the gym. It can become routine to pray. But when you're down and you feel like you don't have love, you need a source of love from something or someone. And I think you mentioned God is the one person who always kind of show you that love without judging you. And that's true, which allows me to segue to the next part where one of the biggest aspects of humanity is relationships. And the people who show you love when you're down, no matter what, is your family. And that's the first institutional relationship building that we experience as human beings. So I'm just curious to understand how your relationship is with your family after certain events, or like how has that developed, being like like somebody who moved away from home, coming to like a different country to start and pursue their own life. How has that impacted the ability to relate to your family to this day?
Hmm. And I think a lot of it is because going back to the thing we are talking about stories and the things you tell yourself versus the reality. There's this quote by a philosopher called Seneca. He says, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. And so the
Mm,
stories that we tell ourselves often cause us so much angst and suffering, as opposed to, and they are so different from what the actual reality of life is. And so I
mm,
find in the context of family, my family is amazing. And being the only one right now that is away from uh, Africa, all my family is in, my immediate siblings at least, siblings and parents are in Zimbabwe and South Africa. And being away from them, it definitely causes a big sadness of not being with my family and not being around them. Spent a lot of time around my family and love being around my family. It's such a fun time. It's truly truly a vibe, bro. But being away from them, it really causes a sadness and a sometimes a you or there's almost a guilt that I feel being here. There's a guilt that I feel being here sometimes, which they never make me feel that. That is something that I put in myself. Right? That is a story that I tell myself that creates that sense of guilt, of being away from them. So but they are so supportive. I don't reply text as much as I should. They're always on me like, you need to, I don't know what you have to do to catch this guy. You have to catch him at the right time or something. You have to phone. Today, actually, my mom called me and the phone didn't even ring and I answered. I answered the phone and my mom is like, what did I do to deserve this? You answered the phone before it even rang.
Mama,
She's
me
used,
too. Me too,
imagine,
mama. Me too.
imagine,
I be
she's
trying to
used,
call this guy and he don't pick up. But he don't pick up at all. Like, can't find him on the phone.
yeah,
But he texts
yeah.
me on Instagram though.
Imagine. Can you imagine? IG. Find me on IG. It was so funny.
Mm.
My brother actually told I was invited to do a speech, a workshop, public speaking workshop with a group called the Rotary Club in Zimbabwe recently in Zim. And my brother told the lady that was organizing it or that was trying to get me to come speak, he's like, you should reach out to him on IG because he doesn't reply his WhatsApp messages. Bro, so I died, bro. I died. I was like, yo, you guys, man, it's not that
Not
bad
not
though.
not
But
not
yeah,
mi- not Mr. Instagram.
yo, can you imagine? Even my brother's like, nah, find this guy on IG. That's funny, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, even in my not replying and replying a few days later or calling them back a few days later or whatever it is, my family is amazing. And so, but yeah, there's definitely a sense of guilt sometimes of being here. And in my head, I put it on myself. I'm like, there's certain things that I want to be able to do to just um, one to spend more time there. I would love to find myself closer to them. I don't know what that would look like, but one day I'd love to be closer to the fam, see my nieces and nephews. What is that feeling of when you go back home? It's like, do my nieces remember me? Do they even know who this guy is? So it's always that thing.
Man.
So yeah, it's tough. It's tough being away from family, but I'm convinced one day we'll all be closer because yeah, they say it takes a village, bro. They say it takes a village to raise kids, especially. And as I think about that in my next few years in my future, I'm like I want to be around family more. I want them to be around. I want my children one day to grow up and know their aunts and uncles and grandmothers, grand etc etc. I would love that to be a thing. But yeah, my family is a cornerstone. Definitely when I'm going through difficult moments, being able to reach out to my mom. I've had more adult conversations with my mom as I've gotten older, and just asking her, real questions as I've gotten older, which is nice to have. Me and my brother always have those types of conversations as well. My sister is always there, willing to dive deep into difficult conversations with us, and I don't use her knowledge as much as I could, but I know she's always available for that.
Yeah. And I think I echo everything you said in the realm of being an international student, moving away from home, trying to fend for yourself, trying to build a future for yourself away from your family. It could take a toll on you mentally, because we grew up with our family. As I said, that's the first institution of relationship building that we have. And the guilt, I think we all go through that phase or that feeling where we feel like I'm not doing enough to like be around them or spend more time with them. But it takes, as you said, it takes a village. We always have them in our hearts. I feel like personally for me, there were so many instances I wanted to give up on this journey of being in Canada, but I always reverted back to they held me down. Like I'm not gonna let them down. I can't do that. And it's a motivation factor. One of the toolkits that I dive and dig deep when I'm going through my difficult moments is the ability to say, I want the best for my parents as long as God grants them life on this earth. I want to be able to provide that for them. And we keep pushing, we keep striving. Um, a huge part of that is also like as you age, there's the realities of mortality for them as well. And it becomes a little harder to accept that because we think we're here forever, but we're not. Not even our parents, not even ourselves. So I'm glad that you have a good relationship with your fam. I'm glad that you always connect with them and you're trying your best to do what you can to maintain that relationship. And as you've been here, you've also built, personal relationships, working relationships. I'm curious to know, I know there's many, but I'm curious to know what relationship do you feel like impacted you the most and how did you nurture that? Because like I know I'm opening a wide spectrum of relationships, but I'm just curious to, from your perspective, do you have any relationship that when you look back you're like, bam, that changed a lot in my life, that one right there changed a lot in my life?
That's so tough to say. The category is truly friends. I think
Mm,
the person that I am right now is I am a product of the people around me that have chosen to pour into me and given me opportunities, and that have seen something in me that in moments I didn't even see that same thing in myself. And so I truly am a product of all the people around me that have poured into me in so many different ways, which is why, man, I'm so grateful, and I truly love my friends. I really try to
mm.
make it a point to tell my friends that I love them, and especially male friendships. You don't really see a lot of that in male friendships, but bro, I could tear up talking about friendship, man. Eh, Truly, I can't think of anything that I have right now that is not a product of someone around me in my friend circle, in one friend circle or another, that has just put me on, that has truly put me on, and with nothing to gain, nothing to gain other than, our friendship. And it's really friends, job opportunities, speaking opportunities, just opportunities to go out to different places in the streets, and all these different things, man. It's
Yeah.
truly, bro, truly, man. I truly often say that I am blessed with friends. Like God has just put certain people into my life at the right time when I needed those people to be in my life. And to be able to just bless me with things that it's hard, but it's just friends. It's just friends, because my friends have just put me on in so many different ways without me even asking. Sometimes even the job that I have right now, because of the 9 to 5 job that I have. It's because of a friend that put me on and said he thinks that this would be a great role for me to apply for. So it's just things like that that have happened throughout the course of my life, where my friends and the things that they are doing are so inspiring in all these different avenues and places, and they just it makes me want to be better. It makes me want to be better. It makes me want to be worthy of my friendships, really, the
Mm.
person that I am. So it's friends. It really is friends. I wouldn't be where I am today. And a lot of people have said it that I've spoken to about my friend groups and how rare it is to have friends like that. Even when I went out recently, and when I went out recently, my cousin met a bunch of my friends, and him and his wife were just shook. They were like, "Yo, I hope you know the friends that you have. This is very." They were so shocked. This is very uncommon for people to have just a stellar group of guys like this. So I'm blessed. I don't take it for granted at all. I'm hyperly aware that it is not normal to have the friends that I've had in my life.
I love that. I love that. I love the fact that you have a good ecosystem that allows you to thrive. One, being yourself, and two,
Mm,
give you opportunities to grow and evolve within the realm of being friends. And you touched on something that I want to follow up with a quick question, because as friendships do have, we have the rosy side where everything
mm,
goes well, everything is good, everything is blessed. But I'm curious as to how you deal with certain friendships that no longer serve you, certain friendships that you probably outgrew, or you have a challenge. And you, as you said, male friendships, we don't necessarily have a space to talk things out, or like have a situation where we're having a one-on-one. It's only when you've built that relationship over time that you can have those conversations. But certain friendships, you know, it's different tiers and it's different conversation styles. Some people don't want to talk about their feelings. Some people don't want to
mm.
talk about, other situations. So I'm curious, how have you nurtured relationships when there has been a little misunderstanding, and how have you dealt with that in the past, and what can you share about that concept?
Yeah, I wasn't great at it growing up, like uni times. I really was not great at having those conversations, and I would just avoid it, to be honest. So I think there's a lot of friendships that have just kind of gone to the graveyard because of avoided conversations and just kind of moving through life, and you just kind of grow apart, and then you stop really talking to each other. And so I've had that happen, and I feel bad about not having had the necessary conversations, because that, even in relationships, romantic relationships, again, it's a thing that is necessary, those difficult conversations. And that has been a growing thing for me, to continue to try to have uncomfortable conversations in the context of relationships, friendships, or otherwise. And so that's not something I've been great at, to be honest. And it's something that is, one of my flaws, one of my weaknesses, if you will, and things that I have to actively work on, because it just won't happen naturally. It is something that I have to actively work on. But later in life, more so, I guess over the last few years, I've been able to have some of those conversations, and more from, and again, thankful for the friendships that I do have, those conversations, because there is a trust and understanding that I want the best for you. And so anything that I say to you is coming from a place of, I want the best for you. And anything that you say to me is coming from a place of, you want the best for me. When that foundation feels like it's been built, that
Mm.
trust, that something that I say to you is not because I'm hating on you, or I want to put you down or anything. It's like I really want the best for you. And so whatever I'm saying to you is coming from that place. I've been able to have better conversations with even friends when it's coming from, when it feels like we're both aligned in that space. And
Mm.
being very intentional about the wording that is used in communicating, the delivery and how you say those things, the message itself. Again, being a public speaking coach, I'm obsessed with the words that you say, and how words can really make or break a conversation sometimes. What you say, how you say it. I'm more mindful of that recently. So I've been able to have some of those conversations, again, coming from a good place of, yeah, I really think that you are someone that is amazing and is destined for great things. And I think that there's something that you're doing that's holding you back. And also, it
Mm,
might be impacting me in my own life. So,
mm,
and we end up chopping it up on, what is that thing that's holding me back, or and so forth. It requires a willing participant in that conversation. Again, like someone can say the same thing to me, like, hey, I feel like there's something that's holding you back, and you need to be moving in a certain way. And people have said those things to me. My friends, have said those things to me of, yo, you're in a certain place where you need to move a bit differently, and you can't be doing some of the things you used to do anymore. You can't be doing that. So people have said that to me, about how I handle myself, how I conduct myself in public, because of
mm.
the things that I am trying to do in this life, and what it requires you to be, who it requires you to be, and how it requires you to act and to conduct yourself in public. So it's tough. It is freaking difficult to have those conversations, and it doesn't feel great for me a lot of the time bringing up those things and having to have them. But oftentimes, again, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Oftentimes,
Mhm.
those conversations go better than you think they will. They go better than you think they will, and that's happened for me. Whenever I've chosen to have those convos with friends, it's the conversations have gone better than expected, and it just, there's a sense of peace. I said my piece, whether you heard it well or you didn't hear it well, it is what it is. But I said my piece, and there's nothing in the back of your mind that, damn, I wish I had said this. I wish I had told them this. I wish I had, because I have a lot of those I wish I had for earlier relationships and friendships in life. And so I'm just trying to have a lot less I wish I had in my life.
The less I wish I had comes from the concept of doing. When
Mm,
you do, you don't have wishes. You just do. It just comes and you just do.
mm,
And that's the concept of, again, being in the arena. You're just doing. So
mm,
with friendships as well, it's a big curve. It's a big learning curve. Friendships, personal relationships, working relationships. It's a big curve to learn as you navigate through your teenagehood to your 20s, and then now as you grow into adulthood. Um, and it's a concept that will forever change. I pray that the people that I have in my life currently stay, and we continue to evolve, grow, challenge each other, allow ourselves to have those difficult conversations, because they are important in the aspect of growth.
mm.
As you
It's not
said,
all
when
kiki.
things, when it's easy to kiki about everything, but
Mm,
when things hit the fan, then
mm,
bro, I think you need to move a little different. Um,
mm.
yeah, it would be a crime for me to end the topic of relationships before I ask you your biggest relationship, which is Speak Up Consulting. You know,
Mm,
the masses want to know. Um,
mm.
and I remember because the platform Limitless is about stories, so we used to
Oh,
joke around like way back, like, you know, man, you should do public speaking, bro. I think you'd be good
mm,
at it. Before you even enrolled to Toastmasters, like we would go back and
mm,
forth, like, bro, I think you should do this. Like, I think you could actually kill it. Our TED Talks on the phone, like, yo, you should do this. You should do this. And when the journey started, I didn't see this. I didn't see
mm,
this. I knew there was potential, but I just didn't see it, because I think you're one person at way back, you didn't really like social media. To go back to people calling you Mr. Instagram, that's hilarious
mm.
to me,
Crazy,
because like it's
crazy.
crazy. And it just goes to show you how people evolve once they put their mind into something, right? But I'm not gonna speak for the horse, so I'm gonna let you touch base on your relationship with Speak Up and how you've gotten to this point before we end with the closing remarks.
Yeah, I think to what I was just mentioning on not having as much confidence in myself when I was on academic probation, and all the stories that I was telling myself during that period of time in particular, a lot of that kind of persisted for the next few years as I was going through life in university. But when I started to do case competitions in uni through the business school, that was what started to show me that I think the speaking thing is something that you might have something here. There might be something here. And again, people saying kind of to what you're saying, that you're actually good at this speaking thing. And it reminds me of one of my courses in uni. I think it was an ethics course or something. And or maybe something else. Well, the professor, the conversation was around leaders, and What makes a good leader? And I remember this answer so vividly because it stuck with me since then, man. Is a great leader is someone who sees something in you that you sometimes don't see in yourself. And when people are able to, that has happened for me several times in the context of speaking, where people are like, man, you really just have a way with with words and how you deliver and all of that. And it's really other people who showed me that this was something that I could be good at. And so I really wanted to compete. I tend to, when I want to validate a hypothesis that I have, I want to go out there and try to do something to validate it. So I was like, let me see I am who I think I am. And I Googled public speaking competitions. That's when Toastmasters came up and the World Championship of Public Speaking. And I said to myself, I really want to compete at the World Championship of Public Speaking one day. And that was
Amen.
the reason I joined Toastmasters. That was the reason I joined Toastmasters, to compete. And in joining Toastmasters and doing all the speeches and starting getting more of that validation, people saying, "Oh, you're really good at speaking. You're really good at this." I was like, okay, cool. I hear you, but let me compete though. Let me compete to really see if I am who I think I am. And through that process of doing Toastmasters over the last 7 years, able to go to the World Championship of Public Speaking, making to the quarterfinals, that was the thing. And I don't think I really needed it, but I felt like I did. It's that external validation thing again. In hindsight, I really didn't need it, but it felt feeling like I am who I think I am when it comes to public speaking. And that was external validation gave me that additional credibility to be able to walk in rooms and say to people, World Championship of Public Speaking quarterfinals, and people are like, oh my goodness, what is that World Championship? People don't even know about Toastmasters to begin with. Then you say World Championship of Public Speaking. Now they're like, wait, there's a club where people speak, and you went to the World Championship. It's a lot of things for people to process. So it is through that process of just building my own confidence through becoming a more confident communicator, how that filtered into my day-to-day life and how I showed up in front of people. It was something that I felt could help so many other people to become more confident in themselves through improving their communication skills. And that's what I've been doing over the last couple of years, in just helping people to just feel better about themselves. And it's okay to be confident in yourself. It's okay to say I graduated the top of my class, and it's just okay to hype yourself up. It's okay to hype yourself up and be confident in yourself, because we need to show up confidently. Life is so hard. It is hard enough. And the world is going to tell us all these things about who we are or who we aren't. But if you have the ability to consistently tell yourself who you are, it really impacts the way that you show up in rooms. It fundamentally changes the way you show up in rooms, the way you show up for other people. Not only does it change your life, but it changes other people's lives around you. And recognizing how that's done that for me, being more confident in myself, what that has done for other people around me as well, is something that I really, really am so driven to want to help people to unlock for themselves, because it is not just about you. There are so many other people that benefit from you being great. So many other people that benefit from you being great. So if you can unlock your greatness, you unlock that in so many other people, right? So that's been the journey, man, and it's a lot, but it's something that I'm so passionate about, and the way that people communicate and the confidence that it gives you when you are able to tell stories confidently.
Leadership, right there. What your prof said, the ability to recognize something great in somebody else before they can do it. That ties down to speak up. What you do is give people the confidence to believe in themselves when they feel like they have public speaking anxiety, or when they feel like they can't show up and show out because I'm not worthy. Now they start hyping themselves up, and that's leadership. You're transferring something that you learned that stuck with you and implementing it in the other people worlds, and it's just amazing to see. It's just amazing to see when it comes to like elevating other people, being a vessel of service to other people. The word flows through you, and that's what they say, God-given talents. Going back to the whole concept of you being in your spiritual journey, now you're so locked in because now it's flowing through you. You're a vessel with
Mm,
God-given abilities. And I just want
mm,
you to know that we support you. We want you to be great. Keep doing what you do. And the journey is just starting, you know,
mm.
super young in this journey. But as we continue to elevate and grow, keep striving, keep providing service, and keep making people think good about themselves. Because as you said, life is already too hard. So,
I love that. I appreciate that.
yeah. Yes, sir. So yeah, that was our first episode. We got the boy.
Mm,
We
mm-hmm.
got the
I like
boy.
that.
We talked
Mm-hmm.
about a little bit of mindfulness. We talked about a little bit of fitness. We talked about relationships. Final thoughts. I'm gonna be doing this once at the end of the episode. It's a
Mm-hmm.
one word bullet point, and you just kind of dive deep when we know what word it is for you. So it all boils down to
Okay, one question. Is it a one-word answer or is it a?
it's a one word answer. Then you elaborate why it's a one word,
Oh,
like
okay,
why
okay,
you
okay.
chose that. Yeah,
Arena, arena. It all
it
boils
all
down
boils
to
down to the arena.
arena. The arena. There's nothing. I cannot stress, man. Just being in the actual thing that you want to do in life, whether it is being in the arena in the context of, we were talking about difficult conversations and how I've struggled with that historically. Again, the arena is putting yourself in a position where you can have those difficult conversations. I saw something that was pretty dope. It was like when you ask God for patience, what does God give you? He gives you a situation where you can practice patience. When you ask God for courage, what does He give you? He gives you a situation where you can practice courage. And for all the things we want, they are in the arena. It's not, you just don't get given the thing that you actually want. It's, you have to go to the arena. You have to be in an actual environment, in a situation to be able to get the things that we want in this life. There's no skipping it. There's just, it's unfortunate, but there's just no skipping being in the actual arena and doing the actual thing that it is that you want, because you have to do something to get the thing that you want. And I'm hyperly conscious about, I'm going to have to do something to get the thing that I want in every single aspect of my life. There's no aspect of my life where I'm just going to get the thing that I want without actually doing something. And the thing that I'm going to have to do is going to be very difficult. So it just all boils for me down to just being in the arena and really being in the thick of it, in the shits, in the weeds, in the mix. And I find that that is where I get to learn about myself. That is where I get to figure out who I really am in the mix. They say crisis reveals character. Just being in the thick of it, being in crisis, being in all of it, right? It really shows you who you are and who you can be. And that is what I am obsessed with. I am obsessed with who I can be. And the only way I can find out who I can be is if I am in the bloody arena, bro. That's the only way. That's the only way. So it all boils down to being in the arena. I think we all have to we just have to dive in whatever avenue of life that it is. And it all boils down to just being in the thick of it. And being in the thick of it, you will get the answers that you require.
Get your reps in. There's no shortcut to work. You gotta put in the
Mm-hmm.
work. You gotta put
Mm-hmm.
in the reps. Mama mentality. You gotta show up and show out.
That's it.
Ain't
Sometimes you gotta pop out and show niggas.
Sometimes you gotta pop out and show brothers, PG. But
PG.
nah, it's all good. It's all good. We encourage people to be their authentic selves, and I'm so glad that I had you here. And I feel like we didn't even go to the depths of what we normally go to,
Oh, yo.
which is crazy because like it's almost an hour, and I'm like, yo, how the hell did it go to like
Imagine,
56 minutes, bro? Like,
imagine, yeah.
there is so much we could have dived into, but I'm so glad that we kind of like, and to finish off as a first episode, I want to touch base on something you said as a closing caption. Being in the arena, I resonate with that so much because it has taken me. I'm sweating right now. You can't tell though, but I'm sweating because this is the first time I'm doing something. This is my baby. This is
Mm,
my speak up. This is
mm,
something that I've thought about doing, and I'm
mm,
actually in the arena doing it. I know
mm,
it's kind of crazy that I'm doing it with you, but it's also like very formative. It's very formal that I get to do this with you in a setup that I had never done before. I had no idea how this was going to play out. I have no idea how it's going to be received or whatever. But to be honest with you, I don't care because I'm doing what I want to do. And I'm just hoping to get the guests that come onto this platform to share the stories, and people can gain inspiration, see that there's a human behind the persona that's Mthabisi. There's a human being behind that. I think we all try to curate this persona or like character that, you know, we're perfect and we're this, we're that, but deep down we're just human beings. And at the core level, we just want to connect and inspire and just be loved or be liked or just spend time with the people we mess with. So I really love the fact that you said the arena, because right now I'm in the arena and I feel so connected to myself. I feel so rejuvenated. I feel like, why didn't I do this earlier? Because I'm like, as you said, always got them feedbacks. Oh no, you can do this, you can do that. But then the confidence was just never there. And as we've discussed, like when you're ready and when you have God on your side and when you have the universe on your side, it will just flow and you become a vessel for you, whatever purpose it is. So not just for you, not just for me, for anyone who's listening, if you feel like there's something that your soul deeply calls you to do, just go ahead and try it, because you'll never know unless you're in the arena. And with that, we close our first episode. Where can people find you, my boy? Mr. Instagram, where can people find you?
Mthabisi Mhlanga.ca on IG, as we talked about. I post a few things on IG.
Bio.
Link in bio, yo. Link in bio is hilarious, bro. We're really linking in bio, bro. We're really linking in bio. This thing was gonna be Gymshark, etc, but we're still linking in bio, bro. Still linking in bio. And yeah, just we're LinkedIn all over, man, all over. The goal is just to create generations of confident storytellers. Create generations of confident storytellers, and you know, we're on all platforms. I'll be trying to advocate for that in various different ways and forums, and creating courses and things for people to help people be more confident in themselves. That's the goal.
You heard the man. Check out his IG, check out his YouTube, check out his LinkedIn, check out his website. If you have issues with, or if you're facing public speaking anxieties, or you just want to learn how to speak to people, you found your guy. And with that being said, I appreciate you for joining. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're humbled and honored to have you on Limitless. We hope to have you another time when you've elevated your game even more.
I love it. Thank you for having me. I love you, my guy. Thank you.
Bless. Appreciate you, bro. We'll talk.
All right. Hey.